What is going on, everybody? This is Raj from Eastside Rage. And years after ending the Winter Saga and bringing an end to the Mother Miranda's Tim Burton head-ass family, Resident Evil steps back into the action with a blend of survival horror and action horror. From going to full-on John Wick to hiding like a little bitch rhyming accidentally, this game gets it right. And it gets it right on all fronts. And I would say, like all Resident Evil players should give this a go. It not only shows off new ideas that it, came up with, but it doesn't forget where the franchise came from. And without further ado, let's just hop right into this review. Rhyming accidentally again. The story starts out with this young lady named Grace Ashcroft, daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft from Resident Evil Outbreak. I'm not sure if it was Foul 1 or Foul 2. She works as an analyst for the FBI. Her boss, for some weird-ass reason, wants her to check out the Renwood Hotel, of which she had a traumatic experience. And, things go inevitably wrong when she goes there. She is chased by a zombie that was once a cop, and she's confronted, knocked out by a former Umbrella researcher called Victor Gideon, who turned himself into a high-functioning BOW and takes her to his hospital, Hills Hospital Chronic Care. I believe that's what it's called. It's on the outskirts of Raccoon City, or at least what's left of it. Turns out Victor Gideon needs Grace for something called Alphys that only she can release to the world. Due to his, knockoff partner and boss or whatever, Wesker and Virgil from Devil May Fucking Cry or whatever. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with him, but yeah, his name is Zeno, and he wants to see what Dr. Oswald Spencer left behind in his dying old age to release to the world. And these maniacal geniuses that really just needed a bit of therapy are the reasons why the mutated T-virus exists, and it's spreading all around. That's what Victor Gideon really did go for. This is also why Leon Kennedy is involved, because Zeno spread another virus called the RCS. This is called the Raccoon City Syndrome, infecting survivors of Raccoon City, which is currently eating away at Leon Kennedy and Sherry Birkin. Yes, she's also in this too. She's basically like an operator for him. Leon and Grace are at the hospital. It's crawling with all types of monsters, zombies, all sorts of BOWs. There's this blind girl, I believe. I forgot her name or whatever. Slipped my mind. But yeah, she's there. And there's this stalking monster they call the Girl or the Shadow creature. And they're locked in the hospital. And they must find clues to get out and find out who's behind this plan, or something terrible could be released to the world. Possibly. So the plot has a lot of twists and turns in the games, and even extends further outside Road Hills, bro. So yeah, you don't have to worry about it being stopped right there. This story is well written. It's well written, and I would say Grace, she's a good protagonist. It gives you a realistic idea of how it would be if a person. Well, I would say if you, with no type of skills or training, are in and experiencing for the first time a secluded environment where everything is trying to kill you. Leon may be older, but he is at his best. Pick, like him with a pistol, an axe, or any type of weapon. He's, a badass that is just whipping niggas' asses, throwing out corny one-liners or whatever. But that he clearly practices in the fucking mirror before his mission briefing. They are a great duo. And as far as for the antagonists, I'm gonna be honest, I felt Victor and Zeno were very flat. I'm gonna be for real. They're just the standard Resident Evil villains that are after world domination, but nothing extraordinary stands out to them, especially Zeno. He's just Wesker light. I felt they could have did more with them, and trust me, they have some cool designs and are well acted. My bad. You asked me, like I said, their wasted potential could have easily been henchmen like boss. Not to mention Zeno. Well, this is a spoiler, but I'm gonna just let you know anyway. He doesn't even have an actual boss fight or whatever. It just feels a little off. But as I said before, the game blends two types of horror with grace. It's survival horror that plays like, well, one side plays like Resident Evil 2 Remake, and the other side with Leon will play like Resident Evil 4, and it works. Like, I mean, a bacon, egg, and cheese with salt, pepper, and ketchup, bro. It's a with a motherfucking hero, bro. It slaps, and I love it. Grace may look, she feel a little clumsy and a terrible shooter at first, but she will grow on you, honestly, as time progresses. And you can also upgrade her skills and, you know, her inventory through these medallions that you find out the hospital. I mean, being there also makes you consider your resources and health before entering battle. It also encourages you to use stealth or run away. You know, yeah, you don't want to get too like heavy on the action when things get a little too heavy, because the zombies are smart, will run at you, you know, all the way back to the fucking main hall if you're not 2 steps ahead. There's also several puzzles with a ton of backtracking. I mean, they brought back the item box and the typewriter with the ink ribbons. If you're playing the classic standard hardcore, it's forcing the game. I mean, well, it forces you to, you like basically when you're playing Grace to like, you know, save with the ink ribbons if or whatever, things like that. But if you're using like, you know, I guess standard, normal, standard, whatever, it just takes it easy on you, like, or whatever. It doesn't make, it'll auto save for you. Also, one thing I don't like about the safe rooms now, and they brought it back like Resident Evil 4, is that they could actually follow you. For me, that's ridiculous, bro, because like a liquor one time followed me from another room to the safe room. I thought it was a glitch, but it wasn't. They can actually do that, then run away. That doesn't make any sense. But anyway, moving on with Grace, she can use standard weapons like makeshift knives, regular handguns, you know. Yeah, you know, she just deals with enemies. Your best bet with her is, you know, just use, you know, just shoot, move, or whatever, kill whatever's in your way. Play like a regular, you know, standard classic Resident Evil game, you know, survival horror. Well, we can move on to Leon, and, you know, he's a fucking beast. And like I said before, he's at his best. He can shoot smoothly, move quick, perform all types of moves when enemies are stunned. Like, I mean, smashing that head on walls and shit, roundhouses, all types of shit. His gameplay is fun as hell, and at first it may seem like it's just A to B objectives, but later it plays like a Resident Evil 4 level by level game. You can also buy and upgrade your weapons and, you know, your case and stuff, and put charms on it. It's good. You know, you get currency for putting down enemies and finding it throughout levels. However, it doesn't take it easy on you. You may think you're on top of the world because you're Leon with his fucking ninja skills, but those zombies will easily fuck your ass up if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, such as sticking and moving, bro. Don't try to get buried in one spot, because they will, you know, fucking pile up on top of your ass. Well, pause. Alright, moving on, I guess, you know, moving on to the level design. There are like 5 levels. Road Hill Hospital, the basement of the hospital, the Raccoon City ruins, in the lab, you know, basically. Hold on, let me recount. Road Hill Hospital, basement, Raccoon City, in the lab. Okay, that's technically 4, but there's 5, but I don't really count that outside area or whatever, because, you know, that's technically a part of the hospital. But anyway, they're all well put together. I mean, and managed to work with both Leon and Grace's play styles. They all present different type of enemies, new challenges, and both manage to work together. Like I said, I mean, they're like a good dynamic duo throughout, even though they're normally separated and you can't switch between them. It's like a very scripted game. One moment you're Grace, next moment you're Leon, but they give you enough stuff with them. You know, there's also, like I said before, side quests, weapon crafting, and upgrades. Grace can use blood samples for upgrades and everything, and the levels are so well crafted and detailed. And this is why I fuck with Capcom. They are like, the level design, backtracking, the way it looks, it all works or whatever. They don't make you like go to the other side if you're I mean, you or whatever did something, they make sure you're back on where you're supposed to be when you're trying to get to something. Now, like, moving on, I guess we could move on to the fear factor with Grace. I wouldn't say it was all that scary, except, you know, the basement with the shadow monster that was going after me, bro. That was kind of scary. But other than that, I would say the whole overall experience was more like stressful. Although it was like Resident Evil, it wasn't like Resident Evil Village because it beat the hell out of them and the fear factor. It doesn't overstep Resident Evil 7 when it comes to horror and Resident Evil 2 remake, because when it comes down to horror, I don't know. I mean, well, basically, you know, I mean, I was playing on standard classic, but the enemies felt too predictable, too slow, and it wasn't as terrifying. Like in Resident Evil 7, I felt weak, and the Baker house was horrifying. I knew if I fucked up, Jack Baker would come for me and show me the numbers real quick. Even in Resident Evil 2 Remake, Mr. X was the definition of a stalker and a badass. You fucked up throughout the precinct, that nigga's coming for you. He's coming to whip your ass. Although the Shadow Monster did a bit of a good job, I felt that they could have used it throughout the hospital and not just the basement and just the beginning of that hallway, bro. Like, you know, you could just hide in the light, it can't get to you. It wasn't, you know, that great. Moving on to the boss fights, they are, you know, technically 7. I'm not gonna lie to you, maybe there's 8, but technically 7, and you know, most of them are forgettable. I needed to Google this to refresh my memory due to them being clearly written in 1 minute. Yes, Mr. X makes a return in the Plant 43 as well. Although fighting Mr. X was fun, I felt like his death could have been more gruesome. For crying out loud, motherfucker. Like, nigga, he took a fucking rocket launcher to the upper body. Hello? Like, come on. Like, back in Resident Evil 2, you telling me, I mean, the way we took him out, I'm not going to tell you that was it? Come on. And I'm not going to give on too much details on the bosses or whatever. That's what you got to look up on your own. I'm not trying to make this with too much spoilers. But I guess we can move on to Victor Gideon because he's the big bad boss. And spoiling, I'm not going to spoil the experience, my bad. But I'm going to give you some big words like fucking T.I. would do in the booth with a dictionary to let you know how he preceptuous, lackadaisical, asinine, flawed, and facile. This is one of the most disappointing boss fights. And the way it happens that led up to it was one of the most funniest plot twists ever, to be honest. However, the boss fight is so lame. It's so fucking whack. To sum it up with, I don't know, without boiling, bringing up too much details, it's like Victor just becomes this big monster that's a glorified bullet sponge that just is obsessing over world domination, and the design is so uninspiring. The boss fight is so unseasonal. Then a fucking vegan cookout, if that is even a fucking thing, bro. Like, the fuck, this is your final boss, my man. Like, this is a nigga who runs shit. Like, what the fuck, redo whatever. I guess I should let bygones be bygones. Although I'm trying to be a white nice gamer and black skin, these fucking developers get the nigga out of me. Like, what the fuck? With this fucking lazy bullshit rushed ass, game design when it comes to bosses. Now I get it. Like, come on, man. Just, think, bro. When you are making a boss in Resident Evil, Capcom does make some good bosses, but this wasn't it here. Now, moving on to the campaign length. Now, people often might say, cause me, I beat the game in about 12 hours. And people will be like, what the hell? Only 12 hours? This game sucks. This game should be at least 50 to 100 hours because I pay 70. Yo, my nigga, shut the fuck up. This is Resident Evil. I mean, the longest Resident Evil games are Resident Evil 6, followed by 4, followed by Code Veronica. The campaign for each of them, from what I remember, at least less than 25 to 21 hours. Bro, Resident Evil games on average are about 8 to 16, maybe 8 to 12. Like, come on, bro. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Y'all sitting here, expecting these fucking games to be like these grindy 50 to 100 hour games when it's in fact a single player fucking linear survival horror game. Like, make it make fucking sense, bro. And to be honest, I'd rather play an 8-hour game that has a bunch of quality, filled with interesting content, than some fucking Ubisoft game that's like 100 hours filled with useless content I would never use and have my map fucking flooded like I'm up in China or whatever trying to get through a fucking crowd, bro. Like, come on, be for real, bro. Like, be fucking for real. And also, like, look, bro, like I said, not every game needs to be a 100-hour campaign, bro. Not every game needs to be like that. People are expecting, like, these games, just because they're $70 now, to be like 40, 50, 60 hours. Like, not every game is open world. Not every game is on the level of fucking Elder Scrolls, bro. I'm just had to put that out there because I hear this a lot and it makes no fucking sense. I'm not defending these corporate billionaires, but y'all stupid expecting every game that's $70 to be this massive MMO or fucking RPG ass adventure. Alright, ran over. Let's move on now. Let's talk about graphics, sound, and optimization. Okay, I guess the graphics, they are beautiful. They're very good. I expect no less from Capcom. Like, they have little details like rain hitting on Grace's jacket and everything, you know, details of her getting damaged throughout the world and everything, along with Leon, you know, and everything. Him getting weaker as the game progresses. I'm not going to tell you why. You know, well, I kind of already did, you know, due to the virus and everything. The game does a good job at capturing the character models, textures, lighting. Game's amazing, and as for optimization, I hadn't seen it drop in frames, really, nothing like that. No glitches, nothing. It works really well. They did a good job, you know, making it look good and making it perform well, bro. And also the gore effects, the blood and gore effects, whoa, like, oh my god, they're like, bingo, amazing. Like, you shoot the zombies, their eye sockets pop out, they limbs fall off and everything, blood gets splattered on the floor. It's like something out of a fucking slasher movie, and I love it. The attention to detail is there. Also, I guess moving on to the sound design. The sound design's good. Like, you know, you can walk, you can hear the footsteps, you can hear the zombies trying to do their little task or whatever in the bathrooms and everything, you know, because they're zombies, but they're zombies that are actually still trying to do their jobs. And, you know, zombies will even apologize for what they did because they talk, because a bit of them are still there. There's even the singing zombie that did a great job. And as for the acting, you know, it's top tier. The voice actors and the mocap actors really, did they thing. But I would say the music in this is very underwhelming, honestly. It's like, it's very average. I didn't really care for it in this one. I'm gonna be for real. But let's move on to my verdict. Moving on to the verdict, Resident Evil Requiem is a badass horror game. In-depth shows that Capcom can still balance both survival horror and action horror. It's a must-play for just about every Resident Evil fan. And, you know, it doesn't forget about its root and brings a lot of dope ideas to the table, bro. I ain't even going front. However, the weak-ass villains, snooze-fest boss fights, and I guess the lab level, even though I didn't bring it up, put the score, you know, a little back. Those could have easily been better and made it a perfect game. And let's be for real, that bike scene in Raccoon City with Leon, like, I don't know, people say it's good, but for me, like, no, fuck that shit, bro. Like, nigga, no. Ain't nobody trying to remember Resident Evil 6. That was fucking bullshit. That's why I'm rating this an 8.5 out of 10. Yeah, I loved it, you know, whatever, but it doesn't, I wouldn't say it's a complete masterpiece. But what do y'all niggas think, bro? Let's be for real. Do you think it deserves a higher score, or did Capcom fumble with the ending? Let your boy Rage know. Next up, we're gonna be heading back to the 1930s to see if Troy Baker being a detective mouse and Mouse for PI for hire is gonna be good. At least there won't be no Jim Crow. Anyway, until then, this has been Eastside Rage signing out. Keep raging, and I'll catch you on the next stream.